Hi everyone, I'm coming to you here today from my kitchen to show you how to make this super amazing yummy pumpkin pie. It's vegan and technically it's raw, besides the fact that the pumpkin was steamed ahead of time, but nothing is baked through the actual pie making process. So yes, I have already put together the pie crust because it takes a little bit more time and I didn't want to take too much time for you to watch this video. I'm going to include everything in a write-up also so you can have the instructions there. This pie crust is actually very easy. I usually make myself homemade nut milk on a regular basis. And that nut milk, the leftover pulp that after I've actually squeezed out, just a sec, because I just made some. So I take my nut milk once it's used in the blender, and then I use this kind of nut milk bag, pour everything in, and then I squeeze it all out. And actually this is what I have left in here, is this pulp that is basically, yeah, pulp left over from the nuts. So that is still nutritional value. There is still nutritional value in here. Doesn't have to go in the garbage. And I'm all about trying to reuse the food that we have so we keep away from wasting and throwing things in the garbage as much as possible. And it's always, like I say, giving us still some nutritional benefit, even though the process has changed and we've made already a milk from it. So I made fresh nut milk, and I had sometimes I have too much of it. I have different recipes I use the pulp for, but this one I had some left over and I put it in the freezer. So I actually had 2 batches of the leftover pulp, and that leftover pulp from 2 batches of nut milk, I mixed up with approximately, I wrote everything down because I usually just do things off the top of my head and just keep going. So I mixed the 2 portions of nut milk pulp, which equivalates to about 170 grams. If you don't have a scale in your kitchen yet, it's a really easy, cheap way to incorporate another tool in your kitchen that helps you to weigh things and measure stuff. Like I said, I know I don't measure all the time, but some things we need to measure and it's important. So, or it's about 170 grams worth of pulp, or about 1.5 cups approximately. And I've added 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed. The flaxseed helps to make everything a little bit thicker and stay together. It's a binding agent. And then I've also added 2 tablespoons of date paste. If you don't have date paste, you can use dried dates, soak them in a little bit of water and blend them up. And then you get the same kind of, we want the stickiness of the dates is going to also help everything bind together. If you use maple syrup, for example, it's a little bit softer and more runny, so it's not going to be such a good sticky binding agent. Still can work, but it's not going to get the exact results. And also if you would just use, for example, like a powdered sugar or like brown sugar or something, again, you're not going to have that really sticky stuff that you get from a date paste. And I always put in a little bit of salt, and I've mixed it all together, and then I just press it into the pie pan. And this doesn't get baked because it's not necessary to bake it. In such a case, because it's not baked and it's not really having that like binding protocol in it, it's gonna fall apart when you're gonna put it on your plate, when you're gonna go to eat it. It is gonna be crumbly. It's gonna fall. It's not like a regular pie crust, okay? So keep that in mind. The taste is there, it's delicious, it's nutritionally sound, but it's not going to be the same as a regular pie crust, okay? I'm not trying to fool you with that, just to let you know. So that's the pie crust. Easy, might have sound difficult because I use so many words, but actually it's super easy. Just, putting a couple ingredients together, making them stick, put it in the bottom of your pie plate. I have already measured out my pumpkin. The pumpkin I have is 300 grams worth. It's pre-steamed, so it's already cooked. That makes this not 100% a raw recipe, which my kitchen generally isn't like that anyways, but just to put it out there for you. So 3 cups, or approximately, 300 grams. It's approximately 2 3/4 cups, or 3 cups is also okay. It's not a big deal if you're going to have that 1/4 difference of a cup in here. It's perfectly fine. And I have The recipe that I made the other day and I posted the photo of, that one I used a tofu that was actually from a Edeka here. And it's actually, this tofu is a hard tofu. It's cuts very easily into pieces. Again, it's a very plain, it's called a classic taste. It has basically no taste. It's very, very simple, or very just like a basic tofu taste, no flavoring. So that one I used last time. And I could feel, after I had mixed all my spices in the first round, I could really still feel the taste of tofu in there, which of course I was not keen on in a pumpkin pie. So I just added, of course, more spice and got rid of, covered up the tofu taste. Because of this type of tofu, it has a little bit stronger taste. Not the end of the world if that's all you have access to. Like I said, it's already been done. It's all good. Excuse me. Excuse me. I also have in my local supermarkets here, it's dripping because it's open. Oh, something stuck in my throat. This tofu is a soft tofu. So it's very easy to make into desserts because this one has a very soft flavor as well. And the texture is very soft. Oh, excuse me, just got something stuck there. So I've taken 50 grams. When I made the first recipe with the hard tofu, I had 50 grams, and I'm taking now 50 grams of this soft tofu. It's about 1/4 cup. You can see this tofu is really, really soft. It's just like, yeah, soft. So I'm gonna just put everything in my blender here. And always I have the other ingredients nearby because if I need a little bit more, I can always add it. So similarly like that in your kitchen, I want you to just be creative and mix and play with things. I have the general idea of the recipes that I make or that I want to share, but sometimes we have to be flexible. I have already measured out 1 cup of nut milk, a fresh nut milk that I made. I'm not going to pour it all in because I've changed my tofu base. The tofu I have now is softer. So I'm gonna just do maybe even, let's see. I did about 3/4 of a cup. Oh, something's still stuck in my throat. Just a moment here. Just because I have to speak, right? Okay, so that's really the base of the filling, the pie filling. Now, in terms of the spices, I love spices, I love flavors. It's up to you how intense you want to make it. I did not measure the spices the first time I did it, and I'm not measuring them now. I hate to break your heart if you're a real stickler for measurements, okay? But I'll give you the information that I have. Cinnamon, that's always good. Of course, if you don't like it, don't put it in, but I don't know about pumpkin pie spice if you don't like cinnamon. And I love it, so I just, put lots in. This is a shaker, that's why it's a little bit also difficult for me to just measure it unless I really take apart the container. For me, I almost can't go wrong with too much cinnamon. I don't know if I've ever put too much cinnamon in something. It's just maybe the containers I have also, but it's just how it is. I also have a spice that is a gingerbread spice. So that's basically all the spices that you're gonna need in one, but I always put more because I just love it. But if you can get your hands on a gingerbread spice, or if you're in Germany, it's called Lebkuchen, just, go for that one as well. I'm just gonna put some more of that in. Then I have also star anise a little bit. It's just another, it's really not necessary, but it's just another little spice that I like to have in my kitchen, especially in this time of year, and it just feels so warming. So I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of that one. That one's a little bit stronger, so be careful for how much you do. I also have something really in my throat that's causing me to have to cough on video here, so pardon me for that. Ginger. I love ginger, powdered ginger. Gonna put a little bit more of that in also. It's already in the gingerbread spice, but it's okay. And I have cloves, so I'm gonna put some of that in too. It's just like, I love it. And like I said, for me, I basically can't go wrong. And I'm gonna put a little bit of turmeric in as well, just because it's good for us. It's an extra one. And it's actually a good concept to have a little bit of salt. I put a little bit of salt also into the pie crust, so it just kind of like balances it out. And it's not a lot of salt, and I'm not using regular white table salt either. If you still have that in your kitchen, please get rid of it. Okay? It's really not serving you or anybody else you're feeding that to. So I have a pink Himalayan crystal salt that I use, and I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit in just to, like I say, it kind of balances the flavors. And for a sweetener, now we don't need a lot of sweetener because the pumpkin's already sweet. I recommend you could even blend this how it is right now and see what the taste is. And you know what? That's what we're gonna do. Let's try. Because once we've added stuff, it's hard to take it out. That's obvious. We know that already. So I'm just a little bit off screen here just so I can blend this for 1 second. Just give me a few seconds. Okay, so now I have, whoop, there we go. I'm gonna taste this. Like I say, no sweetener in here. Let's see how it goes. Definitely edible. Definitely cannot taste the tofu. So if you have the choice, go for the softer tofu because it has a softer taste. If you have only, unbelievable. If you have only the harder, more firm tofu available at your supermarket or that you can buy, take it. Just know that you have to add more spices and probably then more sweetener. I am going to add a little bit of sweetener just because it just feels a little bit better, but it's definitely not necessary, okay? And I love maple syrup. Canadians, no, just kidding, I don't want to stereotype, but I love it. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. It's actually not very much. And just put it in there. And I'm going to add a few more spices. I'm actually going to put a little bit more of my gingerbread spice and a little bit more cinnamon. Like I said earlier, because I just love these spices and I almost can't get enough of them. So it's your taste preference. And I'm gonna just mix that up one more time. 1 moment, please. Okay, so there we go. And I didn't need all the milk that I had because the softer tofu. So if you, again, go with the firm tofu, you're gonna need more nut milk to compensate because it's harder. Just playing with stuff here, it's all good. And that's how you figure out what works in a kitchen. If you're not really big on cooking or big on doing stuff in your kitchen, you can always just work with playing with a few ingredients, with a few things that's available for you. Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I love pumpkin. I love pumpkin spices that go with it. So absolutely wonderful. Just 1 moment, I have to get the spatula. Forgot to get that ready for myself. And now in such a case, I'm just going to scrape this beautiful pie spice all the way into my pie tray. The pie spice, sorry, the pie filling. So another option or reality, if you don't want to make the pie crust, or if you don't have time, just make the pie filling and eat it as pudding. Amazing idea, super delicious, super good again. And you could, if you're serving it for other people for this Thanksgiving, or serving it if you have guests coming over, or just for your family, you can always serve it in a nice little container or a nice little dish or a bowl, so it doesn't have to look like a piece of pie. Because as I mentioned, when we're going to take this pie, and I don't like wasting anything in here, I gotta get it all out. When we're going to take the pie and actually take it out of the pie tray, when you're going to cut it later and want to serve it, like I say, it's floppy a little bit. The crust is not going to stay 100% together necessarily. It might, it depends on, you know, different factors, but it's not the exact same as a pie that you're going to buy or that you would make with traditional ingredients that would bind everything together. Okay. So if you really want to go for appearance, if you're serving someone and you want to make a nice appearance with it, I would probably, in such a case, put it in, if you still use the pie crust, put the pie crust in individual serving containers, so you don't need to worry about scooping it up and wrecking it. People could just, you know, spoon it out and enjoy it. Or, as I already mentioned, just take the pie filling as a pudding and serve it like that as a pudding. And basically, let's just see. Here we go. I think that is basically our pie. It's finished. So it's really easy. And it's even taking longer because I'm talking and talking and talking. If you were not having to listen to me, you could do it probably even faster. So that was about 15 minutes. So there you go. And now you have a beautiful, delicious, it's nutritious. Pumpkin is so good for us. And actually, when I steamed this pumpkin, I left the skin on, and it's perfect. It has extra nutritional value in that also. It's super delicious, super beneficial for us. Enjoy. I wish you happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving. If you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, that's fine too. I wish you a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, a wonderful life. And I will be sharing more videos with you. Please join us, Nina and I, for our next chat. We will be doing this Thursday coming up. Thursday, what day is it now? I think it's the 27th, if I'm correct. Ooh, I don't know. But it's anyways, this Thursday we're going at 1 p.m. Central European time, and we're just going to have a little live chat, and I'm going to show you a quick recipe for a spice latte. And yeah, hope to see you there. Take care for now, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.